groovy.
Hey horror fans, welcome back to Review Scourge, where we watch it so you don't have to. If you haven't subscribed yet, click below to see what film I discuss next, and if you aren't familiar with the channel, it's basically the Cliff Notes of crappy cinema. In this episode, I wanted to take a deeper dive into the hospital horror subgenre with one of my personal favorites, the 1991 hidden horror gem, The Boneyard. The film stars Ed Nelson as Detective Jersey Cullum, Deborah Rose as Allie Oates, a depressed psychic who specializes in missing children, Norman Fell as Shepard, the kooky coroner, and the infamous Phyllis Diller as Miss Poopenplatz, the morgue caretaker. The film was shot on an estimated $850,000 budget and was written and directed by James Cummins, who is famous for special effects work in films such as The Beast Within, Dead and Buried, House, and Deep Star 6. Filming on the Boneyard began in the dead of winter in 1989 at the dilapidated Davis Hospital in Statesville, North Carolina, which was subsequently torn down in 2022 due to it being an eyesore and a haven for trespassers. The hospital was said to be haunted by locals, as the founder of the hospital himself was buried right on the property. Talk about a horror movie plot. During the filming, an explosion sequence that created structural damages to the entrance of the hospital was used in the final shot of the movie, but apparently upset the locals and authorities were involved. Although the film never released in theater, it was released directly to video in 1991, 2 years after production completed. Now onto my favorite part, the breakdown, where I spoil the hell out of the film and go through its entirety in just as few minutes as possible. So hang on to your hats, it's guaranteed to be a crazy ride. In the beginning of the film, we are introduced to Detective Jersey Cullum, who's knocking on the door to a house in disrepair, while his partner, Gordon Mullen, strokes his rabbit's foot for good luck. You can tell where this movie is headed for sure at this point. Whoever lives here gives a shit less about collecting their mail, obviously. Even Cullum finds the house to be cringeworthy. Cullum gives Mullen some confusing hand signals. I guess to tell Mullins to plant his ass in his car. He looks thrilled. Cullum goes around the house to try the other door. Maybe this house is empty. He tries knocking on the door, gets tired, and barges the hell in. But not before getting a word from Mullins first.
Something's not right here.
Yeah, Mullin, you're not right here.
Did he just say, "You're not right here"? What does he mean by that anyway? We see inside is just as bad as the outside of the house, where Cullum makes himself at home, reading newspaper clippings. Mullins heads upstairs to find the house cleaning situation is pretty much the same as it is downstairs. I should have gotten an ad for Merry Maids here. That's better. Where Mullins makes a rookie mistake. Leave other people's shit alone. The noise awakens the laundry monster, who was quietly resting on the bed. Bet you didn't see that shit coming. And neither did Mullins. Turns out the laundry monster is none other than Allie Oates. Yeah, Allie Oates. I think the writer was having fun with the names in this movie. Allie is a psychic who specializes in finding missing children, and Starsky and Hutch here need her help. Cullum explains to Allie he needs her for a case while they stand in this nasty-ass kitchen. I mean, who the hell is going to cook anything in this kitchen? I mean, it's disgusting. Look at it. Allie says she doesn't want to do it. After Cullum and Mullins jet, Allie starts reminiscing on past cases that she's had, and eventually falls asleep, only to awaken within a dream of more crap lying all over the floor and how the maid never showed up to do her job. She's fired. Allie hears a noise outside and finds a little girl just chilling on her front porch, late at night. Yeah, but there's something wrong with this little girl. Jesus Christ. Wow. That is exactly why when you hear a noise outside, you lock the doors and stay the hell in. I wouldn't let her ass in the house even if it wasn't a dream. Turns out the little ghoul just wants some affection. Allie's ass is awake now, that's for sure. Allie's now convinced to join the detectives on their case, where they're watching an evidence video at the police station. The video is of Dr. Chin, a local mortician who explains to the police weird stuff that's going on at the morgue where he works.
Pay attention, maybe learn something.
Chin talks about the bodies of children that were found by the police at his morgue.
They are my masters.
Chin then explains the children need to eat human flesh to stay satisfied.
When they are full, they can play possum.
The very reason his ass is talking to the police in the first place, I'll bet. The team needs a few minutes to process that crazy-ass information.
He'd have an endless supply of protein, wouldn't he?
I'll say, where they decide to head on over to the morgue themselves to catch a glimpse of this crazy shit. The team signs into the morgue, where they are immediately met by a pissed-off Poodle and Mrs. Poopenplatz, played by the late, great Phyllis Diller. Poopenplatz? Oh, we're going to have some fun with that name for sure. Even Cullum pokes fun at her name.
Just give us the tags, will you, Miss Poopenplatz?
Cullum explains to Allie why they call this place the Boneyard.
It's a morgue. It's kind of a new nickname.
And well, it beats the stink hole.
I kind of like Stinkhole better myself.
Oh boy, last year we had one overripe customer in here, a floater.
A floater, you say?
We couldn't get the stink out.
Wow. Poopenplatz calls the mortician on duty to let them know that they're on the way.
Got a peep show party of 3. Over.
Peep show, huh? I like her already. Poopenplatz escorts the team to the morgue while giving them the rules. You know, no touching, no obscene gestures to the corpses, no defilement. You get the idea. This lady is nuts. Poopenplatz brings the team to the viewing room and bids a fond farewell.
Party hardy.
Not sure about that party part, though. The team begins speaking to Shepard, the on-duty mortician, through a two-way camera system, where he sets up the bodies for viewing and uncovers them. Allie requests a sample of hair from one of the corpses to work her psychic powers on. Since Allie isn't allowed into the morgue due to her lack of clearance, she sets up in a local lounge to examine the hair, while Starsky and Hutch head on down to the morgue. The detectives are then alerted by that dog earlier who is going nuts in the lobby. The dog has a man by the foot who's just dropping off a body, but explains he can't do so by means of the service elevator as it doesn't work. This plays into the story a little later. The detective duo help Marty, that's the guy's name, deliver the corpse on their way down to the morgue themselves, where Marty is full of jokes.
Boom! Watch out, sometimes they bite.
Marty explains the corpse he's bringing in was due to a suicide, because drying your hair while still in the bathtub is never a bright idea. Cullum gets a call at the front desk about Dr. Chin. You know, the guy from the video we were watching earlier? Well, he's dead too. Cullum explains Dr. Chin's matter of death to Mullins using more hand signals. Yeah, Dr. Chin blew his brains out. Then this shit happens.
Hey, whoa, whoa!
Shepard meets them just in time to help with the broken gurney.
Okay.
I see what's about to happen here. Allie takes a reading from the hair sample where she sees how this whole thing started. An Asian family, apparently, got help from a shaman many years ago to bring their child back from the dead. Part of this thing that Dr. Chin was trying to explain in the video from earlier. Allie uses astral projection to be inside the morgue where she wasn't allowed. Good job, Allie. Where we see the corpses Shepard showed them earlier covered again, but not for long. Allie awakens from the projection and tries to frantically get to the morgue elevator, which she has no access to begin with. Meanwhile, back in the morgue, we see the new patient who just arrived on the broken gurney. Okay, well, she wasn't dead then. The ghouls are drawn by the activity of flesh in the other room. Marty figures out why the gurney tipped over from earlier. Yep, that'll do it every time. And Allie begs Poopenplatz for the elevator key, where she gets tired of waiting. The attack dog chases Allie into the elevator, and Poopenplatz calls Allie a name.
Fat bitch!
Well, that's not very nice. Allie boots that mutt off the elevator, where she makes her way into the morgue's inner sanctum, and arms herself. She's seen way too many horror movies like myself, apparently. She spots the ghouls going apeshit in the next room. The ghouls grab a light snack and come after Allie. Allie flees the scene only to find one of those creepy monsters out in the hallway. Creepy shit. Cullum takes a shot and fails. They haul ass out of there and are led in by the rest of the team, who also narrowly escaped. That includes Dana, the girl who attempted suicide from earlier, who resurrected miraculously on the gurney, who has the unfortunate task of being involved in all this shit. She's better off dead, honestly. While back at the lobby, Platz is looking for the spare elevator key and finds it, because Allie has her keys, remember?
Bingo. Skeleton key.
Yes, a skeleton key. Okay, smartass, just open the door already. The team makes their way through to the evidence room, where Allie finds pipe bombs. Poopenbutt has made it to the morgue now, where she is looking for her mutt. but instead comes across this shit. Yeah, time to leave. Surprise! The ghoul goes after the dog, then Platts. The team unlocks a door with Allie's plethora of keys, where Mullins takes a swiped weapon from the evidence room and opens fire, and misses horribly. Cullum tells Mullins' no-shooting ass to go back to the elevator, you know, split up, because that makes sense, right? Platts defends herself with well-placed acid. Cullum and the gang come in after hearing the noise, while the red-headed ghoul figures out how to operate the elevator. This ought to be interesting. Dana and Mullins see the ghoul sees them, and tries to escape, outnumbered I guess. Mullins takes a better aim this time. Cheater. Platts is grabbed by the acid ghoul, where the acid ghoul gives her a snack. How thoughtful. Platts is growing sick from her direct ghoul exposure. We'll just call it that. The acid ghoul is dead. We see what happened to the red-headed ghoul from earlier. Mullins realizes he shot up the only working elevator at this point. Nice job, asshole. He finds a way through the elevator service panel overhead, then asks Dana to step barefooted in the ghoul goo. She forgot her shoes. Dana and Mullins have a boring conversation about life while standing in the elevator shaft. Why not, right? The damn thing doesn't work thanks to his stupid ass. They got nothing better to do. Mullins agrees to help Dana back down when this happens. They stay put. Can't very well blame them either. Dana finds a vent shaft where the rest of the team can hear them. The team assists and pulls Dana and Mullins through, but Allie gets grabbed by the only remaining ghoul. So close. Cullum scares it off with the fire extinguisher of all damn things. Now the team chills for a moment to plan their next poorly executed move. Damn it, Marty. No time for jokes. Obviously, they weren't happy either. Marty comes bearing more gifts of death, this time Dr. Chin from the video. And Platts becomes an 8-foot ghoul herself. Yep, now the movie officially goes off the damn rails. Ghoul Platts slaps the shit out of Marty for that horrible joke from earlier. I mean, who could blame him? And tosses Cullum through a broken window. Shepard looks for a way out. At this point, who could blame him? But the door is blocked by Cullum's body. Good job, Platts. Shep is killed by Ghoul Platts. And Dana kills Ghoul Platts. Whew! I hope nothing else crazy happens in this damn film. Then the dog eats ghoul goo. Never mind what I just said earlier about crazy shit happening. Cullum regains consciousness, long enough for Allie to bore us all with a long thought. Yep, you can't blame Cullum for that. Mullins finds a forklift to open the barred door in the basement, but instead uses it on the final ghoul. Good job, Mullins. And things get weirder. Damn mutt. Dana laughs that shit off, pissing off the dog even further. The team then barricades themselves in another room, while Mullins points to a ladder for roof access, with the mutt hot on their stink. The dog breaks a gas line. The team climbs the ladder, so does the dog. Damn. While the rest of the team is on the roof, Allie gets stuck on her bandages and burns through it, because she didn't have a knife, right? The burning bandage falls right back down the ladder shaft where the gas was leaking, and Allie is okay though, somehow, and hears a noise. The dog isn't giving up. Allie crawls away and falls through the ceiling back into the evidence room from earlier, where she finds those same pipe bombs again. Allie goes back to the door that was jammed and ties the bombs to the door, lights the fuse, and this shit happens. Nobody catches a break in this damn film. Allie plays fetch with the mutt. He agrees. And no more demon dog. Allie stumbles out alive after surviving her second up-close explosion, and they all live happily ever after. Roll credits. Let's head over to the review where we can make sense of all this shit. I really love this film and would have to say films like this is what inspired me to create this channel in the first place. Growing up in the 80s, during the pinnacle of horror, I would spend hours searching the video rental stores for movies that were obscure and crazy. Not the mainstream Hollywood stuff, mind you, the stuff nobody rented. The gold, in my opinion. The Boneyard was one of these films for me. It had some wonderful practical effects coupled with a creepy location and a decent storyline. A few segments within the film, though, did seem to drag, like when Cullum was trying to convince Allie to help with the case, or when Dana and Mullins were trapped in the elevator and rambled on about life. If I were ever trapped in a broken elevator with rotting Asian children ghouls lurking right outside that looked like this, the last thing on my mind would be reflecting on past events. And what about that ghoul goo? You know that stuff that Poopinplatz and her dog ate? Turned them into oversized possessed ghouls with superhuman strength? But then Dana stepped in it and it had no effect on her. While shooting this directorial debut film, Cummins himself was plagued with issues. The temperatures outside were so cold during filming, the ghoul goo that we talked about a second ago was actually freezing to the floor of the hospital. Actors were becoming agitated with the cold and working conditions. Deborah Rose, being a predominantly method actress herself, bumped heads with Ed Nelson a few times, so much to the point where Ed picked up a prop axe, probably the one Allie is carrying in this scene here, and threatened Deborah with it. Norman Fell's character, Shepard, was originally to be played by rocker Alice Cooper, but Cummins had issues reaching him through his manager and had to make last-minute decisions on a replacement. Same goes for Ed Nelson's character, Cullum, who was originally slated to be played by Clu Gulager, who was sick at the time of shooting, so the role went to Nelson instead. Whoever said creating a film was an easy task? Cummins, who went on to film a second film, developed rheumatic fever, a disease that would force him to have several heart surgeries and ultimately lead to his untimely death in 2010. I'm giving this film a solid 4 out of 5 skulls. It was campy, funny, gory, and creepy all in one fun package. Thanks for sticking around and watching. And if you enjoyed this, stay tuned to the channel for more content. Until then...
You want to see it again?
No.